right, thanks a lot. Let's quickly dip into, our devices now and check out what the papers are saying this morning. It's a Saturday and no doubt bound to have, a splash of interesting headlines. I'm looking at The Nation now, and it's still talking about the fallout of the presidential election petition court judgment, which was delivered on Wednesday. And of course, many are still reacting to the unanimous judgment at the Court of Appeal. The headline on The Nation says upsets as tribunal. Now, it's even a dip slightly away from the presidential election. Now it's talking about tribunal decisions in other elections, that is, upsets as tribunals upturn results in Enugu, Benue, Bayelsa, others. There are some riders there, and the riders read that the PDP suffers multiple losses in Ogun State, with Yayi and others winning. The Labour Party loses Enugu representative seat to the PDP, and the former governor of Benue State, Suswam, wins in Benue as court sacks APC's Udende. Interesting developments, gentlemen. Of course, there are also the return of Governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, resuming, saying he will be alive to complete his tenure. Biden joins Tinubu and others in India. That's also there in The Nation. And, a splash of so many other stories. Gentlemen, we know that election petition tribunals were set up across the country, just to help intervene on the part of the judiciary to aggrieved parties who are discontented with, election results conducted earlier in the year. And even during the election period, we saw a bit of so many surprises, incumbents losing their seats, governors also. There were so many surprises during the governorship election. Even the presidential election, there were, surprises looking at how states voted, right, Emmanuel?
Absolutely. And of course, when you look at the papers, lots of other interesting stories from The Nation. And look at that. Kingmakers install RCCG pastor Olaoye as Sean of Ogbomosho. And of course, there's also the one at the top left corner, Akeredolu resumes, says, I'll be alive to complete my tenure. Well, another sad news from Kaduna. Bandits burn Catholic seminarian to death in Kaduna. That's quite sad. And another story from Ondo State says, why I stopped lying about my age. Ondo commissioner in that one. Okay. At the top right, we also saw Biden joins Tinubu, others in India for G20 summit. Emmanuel Ajayi, you are the news person. So to say. Yeah. But which of the stories gets your interest?
Let me just speak. The governor of Ondo State, Akeredolu, resuming after 3 months medical vacation in Germany, and got back alive. Despite all
a lot of rumors were about,
insinuations
in the media space about his health.
Yeah, about his health. And thank God the man is back, the governor is back alive to continue his tenure in the state.
Right. And any moment from now, he will return to his home state. Is presently in Oyo State at his home now, and received notable guests. All right, we wish him a speedy recovery. Yeah. Absolutely. Let's check out what Daily Trust, as the Saturday edition, is reporting on Daily Trust. The big story there is on the verdicts by various election petition tribunals, with 9 senators and representatives being sacked so far. As tribunals race against time, we all know how hectic this period is for this, election petition judges. Kano NNPP representative removed for forgery. Abia minister wins his seat. Our judges are overwhelmed. That's a concern raised by court officials as the judges race against time. Winners up it as losers head for appeal. Litigations make our democracy costly, service delivery difficult. That's a reaction by observers. And there's this one from Code.
That's from the Daily Trust.
That's Daily Trust, absolutely. Yeah. Daily Trust also goes on to call through an experts from the agency Code that our Electoral Act requires more amendment. Further headlines on Daily Trust. How dog chased man to death 2 months after wedding in Kwara. The biggest fandoms in the world. All right, gentlemen, the issue of election petition tribunals is still topical at this time, especially when you look at the calls for reforms, the fact that do we have to wait out this long? Can't we just, hold on? Can't we just, for the courts to finish with their petitions and then this political office holders can come on board? And then the issue of how adequate is our electoral laws at the moment. It does seem like we're going to have yet another amendment.
Definitely, talking about some of these amendments with our laws in the country. You saw the 12-hour judgment, which I would call a landmark judgment in Nigeria, talking about that presidential election petition court judgment on Wednesday. It brought out a lot of things that we need to be aware of, and some of those things that our politicians need to take note. When we were talking about the issues, some of the justices said something about facts and evidences, Emmanuel. You don't just come to the court and say, this is what happened, without having concrete evidence to back up your point. Kemi, I know you're a lawyer. There's what we call rep ipsa loquitur in law, which says the fact speaks for itself. So when you have the fact on ground, definitely it should be able to speak for itself. You don't expect the court to go on the street to look for evidences for you. So you must back everything up.
Let's leave the conversation at that. Let's go back to the dailies. We have Daily Trust on the screen. 9 senators rep sacked so far as tribunals race against time. Still talking about fallout from the elections. Kano NNPP rep removed for forgery. Abia minister wins seat. Another writer says our judges are overwhelmed. That's from a court official. Winners upbit as losers head for appeal. Litigations make our democracy costly, service delivery difficult. While Electoral Act requires more amendments. That from, of course, a civil society group there. And, of course, we have another headline grabbing our attention. Man kills wife over food in Edo. That's a really, really sad one there.
Very pathetic.
And, of course, in sport, 8 MPFL coaches in new dogouts. And another one says, my trial led me to Islam, ex-Kwara popular traditionalist. In that one. And Kogi governorship elections, stringent campaign rules put opposition camps on edge. Emmanuel, away from the political stories.
Let's look at this human angle story here. Man kills,
the murder.
Yeah, man kills wife over
alleged
food.
Murder.
In Edo. Very pathetic story at this time. Why will you want to kill your wife? Because of food? This is really serious.
Lack of control,
you
lack
need
of
to
patience.
Control your emotions.
And, you can't blame this on the economic situation.
So many factors.
There are so many factors attached to this.
No matter what happens.
So many factors. But, I'm sure police is investigating and, more information will, come up in due course.
Well, let's go to another papers now. And this time, let's go to The Punch. Of course, The Punch is screaming with the headline, Nigerian embassies in financial crisis as federal government delay funds. The writer says diplomats, staff face eviction from homes, chancery resort to borrowing, and missions should get allocation in foreign currencies, says envoy. Another one there, RCCG pastor installed as shown, begins 7 days right. And another one says Atiku will be get certified true copy prepare appeal. On a very interesting note, how I bought hotel where I once worked as laborer, the Oniba of Iba. That is the traditional ruler in Lagos. Saying how his story changed from grass to grace.
Interesting.
And of course, right under the headline there on the front page, Akeredolu resumes work rights assembly. Well, another interesting story, of course, this happened during the week, But of course, the Punch is following up with that story. Lagos Blue Line unveils modernity, eases traffic nightmare of traumatized commuters. And on the entertainment scene, if a man cheats on me, I will retaliate. Dorothy Batcher. That's the ex-BB Niger house.
Yeah.
Ima, a lot of stories screaming for attention. This one, but
The Lagos Blue Line Rail, talking about that more infrastructure in Lagos State.
That is also promising.
Promising
residents,
to bring
residents are bound
more
to,
development.
well, according to government, residents are sure to have, a good taste of governance now that the Blue Line has kicked off with the, modernity and other, fascinating, gadgets
Development, yeah.
on display at the launch.
And there are some
All right.
cautions attached to it.
We need
that
to
do not cross the rail.
move on now, but let's spare the remaining minutes we have left for this segment to look at the Saturday Independent. Saturday Independent also has, various screaming headlines, the biggest being airports concession, Nigeria's air suspension may spark legal battles. That's experts warning. The Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo there, also an analyst quoted as saying government has a right to opt out where minority stakeholder in in the National Carrier Project, that's the minister defending his action in suspending the controversial Nigeria Air. And of course, more riders read from returning governor saying, I will be alive to complete my tenure. Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State there as he returns from medical leave in Germany and resumes duty as governor. That's cheering news. There's also a report there about politics is over. This is from the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu urging wives of ministers to concentrate on nation building instead. Redeemed Christian Church of God pastor Gandhi installed as new Shonwu of Ogumosho. We've talked about that. Mr. Macaroni is in the news saying he sees a bit of himself in the character of Awujale. Ogun land grabbing activities to see Baba Ode worst hit in acquisition battles. So much to talk about, and this issue of Nigeria Air. We cannot get enough of it. In fact, Nigerians are even still not satisfied. It does go beyond a suspension of the Nigeria Air project. How could a project as controversial as that, that gulped humongous billions of naira, how can it just go just like that? Nigerians are calling for the head of the former finance minister of aviation, Hadi Serika, to come and shed more light on this, because the lawmakers at the federal level have spoken extensively on this, calling out and calling for more investigation and most definitely or possibly prosecution of anyone found.
Absolutely, we need to dig into that fact and ensure that justice is done. Let's have more transparency into the aviation sector in Nigeria. But Oluremi Tinubu, they're talking to minister's wife that we need to concentrate on nation building, and politics is over. Let's hit the ground running. We need to have more development in the country. And also the Shonwu of Ogumosho, the redeemed pastor, is also making waves. Nigerians on the social media.
I would want to have your take on that.
Let's see whether it reflects in the next paper. Let's see whether
Shonwu of Ogumosho, but of course,
so far it has been on all the papers we've
been
treated.
on all
but
the papers.
let's
go to Salient Times. Salient Times is also one of the papers we are reviewing early this morning, and it says employment breaking gender barriers for men in gender-sensitive careers. Women are now undertakers, bus drivers, auto mechanics. That's the writer to that story. And another sad story here on the front page. London-bound Nigerian passenger dies aboard Egypt Air flight. Corpse dumped in Cairo. And another story that is worrisome. Doctors arrested for allegedly harvesting female patient's organ in Plateau. A similar story happened in Lagos. Where a 13-year-old boy
talking about the intestine.
So perhaps Ima would delve into that. Let's look at the top half of that front page. Son kills father with pestle in Rivers. It's similar to the start story from Edo State,
Edo
where
State.
husband killed wife. Police debunk rumors of men's private part disappearance in Calabar. And second quarter 2023, Discos generates 263 billion naira revenue in Nigeria. That's a report there. And man stabs his friend to death over payment of food in Lagos. Other stories from the front page of the Salient Times. I'll leave to finish my tenure. Akeredolu, DSS probes Garki market incident involving its operative. Yes, that's a story that also caught attention during the week where a fashion designer was allegedly shot by an operative. And church member kills pastor with cutlass in Delta. Manuel, one thing that is clear from the front page of the Salient Times, a lot of human interest stories, is worrisome concerns.
And they are all worrisome.
Very worrisome. Look at this one. Church member kills pastor with cutlass in Delta. So
son kills father. Man stabs friend. I think we as a people,
organ is missing somewhere.
Organ is
in
missing
Plateau
somewhere.
State.
We must begin to have a conversation about our humanity.
And the mental health too. We need to talk about the mental health of Nigerians.
Apparently, it's really under. We don't talk enough about it. People need to open up, and these are serious.
Very. An ability to control your emotions when you're under one challenge or the other is also very important at this time. Sometimes you may be going through some challenges that you may not want to tell anyone. And when incidences like this happen, you go to the extreme, which may cost your life. So we want to beg Nigerians at this time, no matter what you're passing through, just calm down, put a smile on your face, and don't go to the extreme of taking someone's life.
All right, on Blueprint now, I wanted to talk about the DSS, scandal in the SCT, but let's quickly look at the Blueprint. On Blueprint this morning, the headlines read, beginning with the top corner there, despairing citizens to Tinubu, urging him or telling him that palliatives aren't enough and urging him to reduce the fuel pump price instead. At the tribunal, still on the PPC, Tinubu's election victory validates or vindicates INEC. This is from Arewa Youth. Equity market, that's a business land, closes in positive trend amidst gains